I'm trying to become the greatest manager of all time by completing the Glory Hunter Challenge. So far, we've won 6 trophies in 11 seasons, but we're getting close to winning number 7 in season 12. We've just drawn 1-1 to Manchester United in the Champions League semi-final first leg. So if we beat them at home, just like we did way back in the league phase, we'll be heading to the final. Our boys were clearly up for it. Just 15 minutes into the game, a low cross found William Pereira, who gave us the lead. And just 5 minutes later, a looping cross found the head of Jafuni, who doubled our advantage. But United aren't going to lie down. They worked the ball forwards to Konstantinos Karetsas, who got a goal back. But moments before half-time, Varela's low shot made it 3-1 to us at the break. The second half started much quieter. There was no real action until the 68th minute, when Rodrigo Mora played the ball to an open Gavi, who scored an absolute wonder goal. But immediately, we replied. William Pereira found our own open man, Benjamin Šeško, who scored past his former club, making it 4-2 on the night. But United kept fighting, and despite crowding out the penalty area, they still found a way through. Then, with 10 minutes to go, the worst happened. Some clever passing saw United sneak past our backline and level the aggregate score to 5-5. This took the game to extra time, where nothing was happening until the 119th minute. For just one moment, the United backline lost focus and gave Charles Worley an extra inch of space. The space he needed to lash home a first-time shot to win 5-4 on the night and send Villarreal to the Champions League final. Beat the now 8-time champions Liverpool, and we add the hardest trophy there is to win to our cabinet. Lose, and there's a good chance we won't complete the challenge within the 20-season limit. Just 8 minutes into the game, Benjamin Šeško found the back of the net, but he was obviously a mile offside and has already picked up a knock. At the other end of the pitch, goalkeeper Martinez made a wonderful save to deny Arda Güler's free kick. He was also well placed to save a decent effort from Franco Mastantuono. The match stats aren't looking good, so I was thinking about pulling the injured Šeško at the break. But with minutes to go until half-time, Ter played a wonderful ball over the top for Šeško. He'd broken free of his man, sprinted through on goal, and rifled his effort into the top corner. At half-time, we're 1-0 up and have one hand on the trophy. But this is a Liverpool super team we're playing against, and it wasn't long until they worked the ball forwards, found a cross in the middle, and bundled the ball over the line. But Luca Williams-Barnett was judged to have been fractionally offside, and the goal was chalked off. Šeško was now really affected by his knock, so we took him off, moving Giovanni Jafuni up top and bringing Danladi onto the left wing. But as soon as Danladi came on, he made a mistake. He didn't go up for a header, gifting possession back to Liverpool, who didn't need a second invitation to draw level. This was when Liverpool began to get lucky. Firstly, a foul committed by Baleba went to VAR and was judged to have been just outside the penalty area. And then we had to go to goal line technology to work out if Pau Navarro's bullet header crossed the line. Unfortunately, it didn't. And then Danladi, who was keen to put his mistake behind him, had his powerful effort pushed over the crossbar. Then it was our turn for a little bit of luck. In the 93rd minute, Liverpool were driving forwards, and I couldn't watch as Mastantuono took a shot and it just went over the crossbar, sending the game to extra time. Both teams took time to compose themselves, and it wasn't until the second period of extra time that shots started to come in. Vinny Jr.'s low effort went just wide of the mark, whilst Ethan Nwaneri's high shot went just over the crossbar. But all the pressure was coming from Liverpool, and finally, they broke through. In the 108th minute, a low cross found substitute Fabio Villa, who broke my heart. So now, under huge pressure, we tried to get back into the game, and somehow William Pereira's effort was deflected wide. Then, in the 121st minute, a long-range effort was just saved by the Liverpool keeper. Despite everything, we couldn't do it. Liverpool win, and we fall short of the one trophy that matters the most. We've bottled the Champions League. We were also nowhere near to winning La Liga, so we need to have an incredible summer if we want to be fighting for both trophies next season. But I don't know if I want to carry on. Is it time to move on? Our former club Bournemouth have just finished second in the Premier League, and their manager has been poached by AC Milan. Remember, we can only win each trophy with a club that's never won it before, and Bournemouth still haven't won the Premier League or FA Cup. trophies that we still need to win. So at the moment, they look like the better option for us. But is leaving Villarreal after just reaching a Champions League final a massive mistake, or are we going to go for a second chance at Bournemouth? With 44 million to spend, Villarreal make a compelling argument to stay. But the best argument is our star player, Giovanni Giuffuni. We spent £85 million on this man who knows how to win. We can't just walk away having only just been reunited with him. So we're going to stay, and we're going to have a hell of a summer. We sold 6 players for a combined 88 million, allowing me to really strengthen the team. 8 new faces join for a combined fee of 107 million. The player I'm most excited about is Leonardo. We signed the Brazilian midfielder for just 30 million from Internacional, which is an absolute steal for a player of his quality, and he'll start plenty of games for us. But we've got a dilemma when it comes to our starting striker. At 34 years old, it was time to sell Šeško. To replace him, we signed Ray Gelmer on a free transfer after he left Espanyol at the end of his contract. And the 24-year-old has it all, aside from any physical ability. So we also signed 21-year-old Gabriel Coquerto from Como for 21 million. His finishing and composure isn't as good as Gelmer's, but he certainly meets the physical demands of La Liga and the Champions League. The question is, who do we start? Well, I gave Gelmer the nod to start the season. Having played in La Liga for the past 5 seasons, he should be up to speed with what's expected. And he didn't disappoint. However, when we played Coquerto, he was also able to find the back of the net, and on a more consistent basis. His goals helped us beat Real Sociedad and Real Betis, as we attempt to finally give Barcelona a real challenge for the title. At Christmas, we've matched them, but sit top of the table thanks to our superior goal difference. But the 2 strikers are only partly to thank for that. Giovanni Giuffuni has stepped things up this season. He's our top scorer in all competitions, including the Champions League, where we've had another successful league phase. Giuffuni's goals and assists have helped us go unbeaten for a 2nd season in a row in the league phase, but this time, that's enough to top the table. Back in La Liga, we continue to keep winning games and put the pressure on Barca. That was until we suffered a shock 3-0 defeat at the hands of Girona. That's allowed Barca to stretch out a 5-point lead at the top of the table. But we played them in our next match and showed no mercy. Our leader Giovanni Giuffuni scored a brace, Coquerto showed us why he's going to be a massive star, before William Pereira finished it all off. This marked a turn in the season. The win gave us confidence and momentum, whereas for Barca, it was the start of their downfall. As we won our next 9 La Liga matches, Barca lost 3 and drew twice, throwing away their lead at the top of the table. Now we have a game in hand, and if we can beat Valencia, the title will be ours. This was a game that we never looked like losing. Coquerto gave us the lead in the first half, before a Valencia defender turned the ball into the back of his own net early in the second. Coquerto then buried the game, scoring his second and making history. The risk of staying has paid off, and we've won Villarreal their first ever La Liga title, adding a trophy to the cabinet and completing Spain. But this isn't the only trophy we can win this season. Remember, we topped the Champions League phase. In the round of 16, we beat Frankfurt 3-2 in both legs to progress as 6-4 aggregate winners. A 4-0 win at home against PSG in the quarter-final first leg ended up being incredibly important, because in the second leg, we lost 3-0. Luckily, thanks to a dominant first leg, we just scrape our way back to the semi-finals. And here we'd have to beat Real Madrid, which at this point we're making a habit of. Goals from William Pereira and Leonardo in the first leg ensure we secure our spot in the final for a 2nd season in a row. But this time, we go in as favourites, against Porto, who have had a spectacular run to the final. But we've been here before. 120 minutes of agony against Liverpool. This is our shot at redemption, and maybe the last one we'll get. However, Porto have a special player, Guy Chichua, our former wonder kid at Rayo Vallecano, the man we built up for greatness, and he's now stabbing the knife in my back. 32 minutes in, and we're losing again. At the break, Porto looked like the better of the 2 teams. So I gave my players the hairdry treatment at half time, but nothing was working. With 65 minutes on the clock, off come Coquerto and Tor for Gelmer and Leonardo, and they upset the rhythm of the match. After being quiet all game, the ball drops to Giuffuni, our talisman. The man we spent 85 million on to lead this team buries his shot. Leonardo then won the ball in the midfield, played it to Giuffuni, who lumped a high pass over the top to William Pereira, the man who followed us from Rayo Vallecano, to give us the lead with 8 minutes to go. At this point, we took no risks, dropping the tempo and upping the time wasting, which worked. We come from behind to lift the Champions League above our heads, finally ticking off the most difficult trophy to win in Glory Hunter. Now we have 7 seasons left to win the DFB Pokal and the doubles in England and France with teams who have never done it before, which is much easier said than done. The day after the final, I resigned as Villarreal boss. But months passed by. Every Monday I refreshed the job market, Championship, Serie B, mid-table nonsense. And every time I had the same feeling. What if we've already missed our chance to complete the Glory Hunter challenge? But then, in March, there was finally a glimmer of hope. Angers are currently in the relegation zone of Ligue 1, but in the last 5 seasons they've been fighting for a spot in Europe. They're also led by 3 talented youngsters. Michel has the tools to become one of the world's best centre-backs, if we can keep him out of the hands of PSG. Garcia's faster than most wingers, and if he learns how to properly defend, he's going to be a terrifying wingback. And Fabre, well, he's got the vision, the touch, the flair. We just need to polish him into a diamond. Either we play all 3 of these wonder kids and develop the team that way, or sell them on for big money and rebuild through the transfer market. I don't really mind what we do, I'm just excited about this prospect. So I was delighted when they offered me an interview. Obviously they're worried I can't speak French, but football is a universal language that all my players can understand. If they can't, I'm selling them. They also want my assurance that I won't lose the dressing room like the last manager did, so I'm promising them that I won't. And they also want to know if I can get on with the fans. How about you ask the fans how much they like to win the French double? That confidence resonated with the board, and we're heading to Angers. With 8 games to go, we are in the relegation zone, 7 points adrift of 15th place Auxerre. Maybe my excitement has got in the way of practicality here. To avoid relegation is going to take a miracle, and if we get relegated, we can kiss goodbye to completing the challenge. So in this situation, for me, attack is the best form of defence. We're running a 4-2-3-1 to try and save ourselves, but we failed to score in our first match against 16th place Caen. However, we got our first win against the odds. We hosted 3rd place Lille and scored twice in the second half to defeat our northern French rivals. Better still, veteran striker Jonah Kusiasare scored twice at home against Lorient as our attack-first approach worked, winning 3-2 for another massive 3 points. We then drew 3 games on the bounce to Lens, Toulouse and Nice. All things considered, incredible results for us. But even better was a 1-0 win against 4th place Marseille, with the wonder kid Fabre getting the game's only goal, finally taking us out of the relegation zone. Then on the final day of the season, we thrashed Reims 3-0, securing our safety and condemning Reims to relegation. We avoid the drop by 4 points by going unbeaten in 8 games. I knew this team were better than 17th, but that run was something special. If we can keep this momentum going and make the right additions over summer, well, look out PSG, we could be coming for your title. The summer began with Tottenham slapping a non-negotiable £61 million bid on the table for Mohamed Michel, and I said yes. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. We only have £7 million to spend, and that's not enough to turn this team around fully. In the end, we actually let go of 14 players to get off bad contracts and raise some money to sign 15 players for the club for the new season. And these new players are so good that we've gone from potentially building around 3 wonder kids to maybe not even starting the 2 guys that remain. The crown jewels of the signings is Karim Onana. We paid Troyes £8.5 million for the 19-year-old right winger, who is now the best player at the club. We also spent £8 million on Chilean midfielder Stefan Livingston to play behind the striker. We're sticking with the attacking formation that worked so well at the end of last season, and it looked to be working again as we beat Lille 2-1 on the opening day of the season, with Livingston scoring both goals. And that's when it stopped working. In our next 8 games, we lost 3, drew 5 and won 0. We weren't helped by the fact that Onana picked up an injury in training, so we're missing our star winger right now. But that's a poor excuse for the form that we've been in. We finally won a game when Fabre and Livingston scored past Rennes, but then we went back to drawing and losing. At Christmas, we're 15th in the table with just 2 wins and 9 draws. Genuinely, if we don't get out of this relegation battle, I could be sacked before the season ends. Thankfully, in January, Onana came back from injury, and it felt like hitting the reset button, as he inspired the team on his first game back to a 4-0 win against Lille, only to then lose to Grenoble Foot in the Coupe de France, ending all our hopes of a trophy this season. But with the return of the young winger, we finally began to win more league games. Onana scored a brace against Lens in a 4-1 win, got an assist as we picked 3 points up against Nice, and then scored the winner in a tight win against relegation-threatened Orleans. But despite a better second half of the season, we only finished 12th, and with time running out before the end of the challenge, it feels like a waste of a season. We've got 5 seasons left to win 5 trophies, with clubs who have never won them before. Is that even possible? I'm not quite sure. Thanks to the next instalment of cash from Spurs for Michel, we have 24 million to spend. We raised some more funds by selling 5 players, including Livingston, who is one of our best players from last season, but he won't fit into our new tactic. In come 9 players who we're using to transform the squad. The best of the bunch is striker Jonathan Mothmora, who signs for £13.5 million from Sochaux, where he scored 15 goals last season. Last time out, we were chaos merchants. This season, we need control. So I ripped up the playbook and moved us to a 5-2-3-1. 3 centre-backs, 2 holding mids, and our hopes pinned on one man, Jonathan Mothmora. This was a way more successful approach for us. Mothmora scored a brace on his debut as we thrashed newly promoted Orleans 5-1. The new formation helped us keep plenty more clean sheets, and Mothmora made sure we won. His goals helped us beat Reims 3-0, as well as Troyes and Lorient 2-0. But it wasn't a perfect system, especially against the stronger sides in the league. PSG, Lyon and Monaco all beat us, limiting our progress up the table. But I am over the moon with being in 6th place. We won't be winning the title this season, but the turnaround from where we were last time out is incredible. In the second half of the season, we enter the cup in the 9th round, where we narrowly beat Amiens 1-0. In the 10th round, we travelled to Nantes, and again we got lucky, scraping through as 2-1 winners. Then in the 11th round, we got even luckier. We'd been drawn against 3rd division side Boulogne, and we took the lead 16 minutes in. But then the referee spotted a handball from a corner and awarded Boulogne a penalty, which they scored, taking the game to a shootout. But again, we got lucky. We saved Boulogne's first spot kick and buried all 5 of ours to make the quarterfinals by the skin of our teeth. But this could well be the end of our run, as we've been drawn against PSG. However, just 10 days before the cup game, we did actually beat PSG in the league 2-1 at home, both goals being scored by Mothmora. So we knew we could win, and perhaps helped by the fact that PSG rotated their team, Fabre's goal was the only one of the game, and once again, we sneak into the next round. And if we can beat Monaco, surely the trophy is ours. Because Cavelli Rouen have also made the final, and they're a 3rd division team. But Monaco took the lead in the 3rd minute from a corner, and then they extended their lead just before half-time. To me, the game was over. There was no coming back. But the players thought otherwise. They continued to battle in the second half, and with just 15 minutes to go, Onana pulled one back. Then 5 minutes later, a ball over the top from Mothmora found substitute Santos, who guided the ball past the keeper, taking us to penalties where a legend was born. Mothmora scored the first spot kick, but our keeper Rouvière made a huge save to keep the lead. Onana then stepped up, putting us 2-0 in front, and that was confirmed by Rouvière, who made another incredible save. Centre-back Nilsson then scored our first penalty, which means if Rouvière can make a hat-trick of saves, which he did, we're heading to the final. It's us versus Cavelli Rouen, a 3rd division team. On paper, it's a whitewash. In reality, it's a nightmare. They are the underdogs of the decade, and the whole country is behind them. If I'm being honest, even I kind of want them to win. It's an incredible story, but we can't let them win. Not with Glory Hunter on the line. But we won't find out if we get the all-important win until next episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you can be the first to know when the finale is released. Glory Hunter isn't dead yet, but if we lose the final, we might never catch up.